everyone, it's Angela again. Welcome back. I'm here today to show you how to put together the cover for your baking journal. So if you've been following along or you are wanting to put together a pretty simple cover for one of your journals, then stay tuned and we will do that together. Right, so as I said, I've been working on a baking journal now for about a good few weeks, and it's time just to put together a cover. So want to plan that, and I usually do that at the end because it sort of gives me an indication of how tubby it's going to be, and I can adapt my spine accordingly. So I thought I'd just talk you through that quickly. Right, so I'm going to use a manila folder. This is just a standard manila folder. This was gifted to me, but you can actually buy them on Amazon as well. If I do have a few that I bought a box of them from there. But any cereal box, pasta box, any card, or any kind of sheet of cardboard that you want to use, anything that you have that's going to be sturdy enough will do the job. All right, so that's what I would suggest. Now, I'm doing this because it's in one piece. And even if you've got a sheet of A3 card, you can fold it in half and do exactly the same thing. So this is a very easy way to do a soft cover for a journal. Right, so I'm going to talk you through that very quickly, and then we will move on. Right, so manila folder here. Now manila folders come with a fold line already in place, and you will see that you've got one side that's slightly higher than the other. All right, so that's important to know. I'm going to work with that fold to cut out the and size the journal cover. So I have done just that. So here's the main fold that comes sort of pre-pressed into the manila folder over here. And with my two signatures, when I put them on top of each other, I found that I'm looking at about a 2.5-inch spine because they're quite chunky, and I don't want to have an overly big gaiter mouth this time. I'm going to reduce that and show you how to do that. So when I packed my two signatures on top of each other and I measured on the side, I got to 2.5 inches. That would be a much better option. Now in centimeters, that is about 6.5 centimeters. All right, so that's what we're going to do. So taking your fold line over here, I measured then my 2.5 inches, and this is my spine width. Now I'm doing it on the side of the manila folder that is slightly longer. This one is slightly shorter, as I showed you. So do it this side. Otherwise, you're not going to have enough space for the actual back page of the cover. Right, so you've got 2.5 inches over here. And then from that line that you draw, I have drawn a further 6.5 inches. I think it's 6.4 actually. All right, so that's what it is. 6.4. So 6 3/8. Okay, because that's all that's left, and that's fine. It's perfectly enough. It takes you right to the edge of the manila folder on my size one. So what we would do then is we would do that there. Then on the other side, from the edge of your other side of your spine, measure 6 3/8 of an inch that side. Now for me, this is using an A4 size paper. You might need to adjust that if you're using a different size. In centimeters, that is an additional 16.5 centimeters from the edge of your spine there, and again on that side. So I'm just going to cut this out now on the sides at those marks, and then I'll tell you how I've worked out the height. So really not difficult at all. This is really a simple way to do a cover. But of course, if you've got cereal boxes, you can do the similar kind of thing. They also have about a 2.5-inch fold line, and it would be able to work those big cornflake boxes, that kind of thing. Right, now for my one, I've measured 9 inches from the base to the top here. On both sides, and I am now going to cut right across the top here. Right, blade away. Okay, so there we have the base of our journal cover, and now this is the other side of the spine. it doesn't have a fold line, so just take your ruler and your bone folder and create a little indent there, and then you can just fold that over. Okay, all right, there we go. So now that is what's going to make our cover. All right, so if I take my two signatures like this and I put that in there, you can see that that's going to be a lot better. And I've got plenty space on the side, and I've got an even amount of space at the top and the bottom. Okay, so there's a perfect size for that. My tab is just going to come to the edge there, and I'm happy with that. All right, so that's the base. That's what we're going to do there. Right, with this piece over here, we are going to use this. So what I want to do is measure, I think on this longer one here, we want to measure 9 inches again, which is the length from there to there. 9 inches in centimeters is just short of 23 centimeters. Okay, so with the 9 inches, I'm going to just measure that. I'm going to cut this off over here. Very awkward when you're trying to film these kind of things. So we're going to just cut that off over there, and I want to have a piece that's now going to fit into the back here, or on the inside. So that's the right height. All right, so you've got your 9 inches, and it will fit into this piece here. But what I chose to do is, and it makes it easier, and I would suggest this, you want it ever so slightly shorter than your 2.5 inches. So that's the 2.5 inches of your spine, and I make mine sort of probably an eighth of an inch shorter, narrower. So let's just get that lined up here like that, and that's where we want to do it. We cut that straight off. All right, if I take this piece to check, you should be able to put this in here nicely. You should be able to lift these two sides up, and it shouldn't bend. It shouldn't go like that. It should lie flat. Then you know you've got the right thick width. All right, so hang on to that piece. Okay, that piece is going to be your reinforcement. What I did with this was I took a piece of tyvek. Tyvek, you can use tyvek envelopes or tyvek itself. This is tyvek itself. You buy this off Amazon. This is a great fiber orientated thing. I usually measure this out and stick this onto the back, and I'm going to end up turning this around ultimately. You can put it on the front as well, probably better on the front, because it doesn't like to stick so beautifully on there. All right, so put it on here, and then ultimately we will cover this. This bit will then be what we sew our spine onto. Now, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I will put a link in the video below so that you can go over some of the details, because this is really a lot of what I've said before, and I'm trying to get through as much as I possibly can today. So this is key, 2.5 inches here, and the measurements I've given you, and then this is something I've done before. So measure that like I've shown you, put on your tyvek, and ultimately we will cover that with a different patterned paper. All right, and then we will sew that into our signatures into this, and ultimately that gets stuck into that. Okay, so that's what we're doing there. Right, now just if you have a look on one of the corners, you've got a slightly rounded edge from a manila folder. This bit that I cut off, I'm just going to fix that up. So what I do is I just take a strip of that tab that we cut off, and I'm going to just straighten that corner. So I'm going to just use my Fabri-Tac to do that, like that. Come on. All right, so there we go. So put a lot of glue on there, and then we want to just lift that up and match this edge here and that edge there, and the job's done. Okay, you're not going to see this. I usually make that my back and bottom corner, and that's the front. But at least you will, when you come to cover this with fabric now, that's not going to present a problem. Okay, so that's how I do that. Right, so that's how we're going to put together the actual card bit to do our cover. Now what you saw me do is I'm going to use fabric. You can use any fabric that you have, wallpaper, scrap fabric, old clothing that no longer fits, anything you have, curtaining, upholstery fabric. Go and have a look what you have. Alternatively, you can also use printed sheets. I've done that before as well. So you can do that. But wallpaper is a great one as well, and I love that because it's got that sort of tyvek feel and it's long standing as well. Okay, with the fabric, you want to cut out a piece, and I've done this already. That is just about 1 inch and a quarter bigger than the size of your actual card. All right. And I'm not going to show you how I stick it down. I'm going to talk you through it because I've made one already. What I do is I start with this middle bit over here, and I stick this down first, and I use my Fabri-Tac or Beacon 3-in-1 glue. All right, so that's what I use. When you do this, you don't want to do this with too much glue. So go and have a look at that video because I'll show you exactly how to do exactly what I'm doing here now. All right, so start with the spine, stick that down. Make sure before you smooth it out that it is straight, and it's easy with this fabric because I've got lines so I can see. All right, and then rub it nicely. Then you want to stick your back panel down, so stick that with glue and do that. When you're sticking it, what I do in between each one, once I've stuck it down, I then rub it with my hands like that. All right, so go and do that. You then want to then stick these sides up here, so you want to do that as well. Now what happens on the edges here, you'll see in the video, is that you want to cut away the excess here, but not too far from the corner. All right, so you want to have it about that far, just so that you get a nice neat corner. All right, so I'm not going to bore you with all that now. I'm going to put a link in, if you don't know how to do that, from a video that I've done exactly that. All right, so please go and have a look and follow along with that. So we've covered our cover now onto our card, and I'm going to take you to that point right away. Here we have the cover stuck to our card, and you can see I've got nice neat corners going on, as well, not the most perfect corners I've ever made, but neat enough corners. It is a little bit creased on this side, but I'm not worried. It is the front. I'm going to cover this bit now, but the back is nice and smooth, and you get that by just running your hands over it. All right, so there's the cover, and I quite like how that's turned out. Now to put a decoration on the front here, I find it easier just to open this up like that. Okay, and we're going to put a little decoration on the front here. Right, let me just put that to the side for the moment. What I've decided to do is just to talk you through a couple of things. Now I've taken the mini page from my journal pages. This wasn't the page I was going to use, but this is the one that spoke to me in the end. So I've got the mini page, and I have cut it out. Let me just see how far I cut this out. 4 1/4 inches across. All right, and it is 5 3/4 inches, so that is 14.5 by 10.5 centimeters. Okay, I've used my beveled edge cutter there, and then I've just very lightly distressed it with my distress oxide. Okay, so that's the first thing. The next thing I did was I took one of my tabs. These are in the add-on section, or you might have a tab punch yourself. Take a tab. It doesn't have to be one like this, but they are in that kit, with the background pink and peony paper. I've sewn on a button there, and I want to just take my glue, I'm going to just put a little bit of it just on the end of this tab here. Let me get my glue stand closer so that I'm not struggling with this. Yeah, I'm not going to eat sweets now. Right, and then I'm going to just put this on the end here, like that. I am going to end up stitching around this. You don't have to. Okay, just use better glue when I'm gluing. So I've got that there. That's the first step. Then I've taken this paper. This is the background paper. These are all from the journal pages. And I want to put it on here, but I want to angle it. So I want to angle it sort of like this. Like this. Okay, so I'm keeping this one close there and that one like that. Okay. And what I'm going to do is, I'll get it all together and then I'll talk to you. I've then taken a pink polka dot page and I want to angle this the opposite way. All right, so that one's going like this, and then this one needs to go like this. All right. Okay, so we've got that and that. I want to move this one over a bit, bring it down but over. Okay, and then I've got the last page, which is this page. So this is the stone background with the peonies, and I want this line here to be parallel with that line there. So yeah, I'm going to move these to the bottom edge here, and I'm going to have it like that. Okay, so these two are parallel, these two are tops and tailed like that. Okay, and then what I do is, if you're going to sew this, you can just take your glue. I hold this like this. I've got it now, and I'm just putting a bit of glue there. I take each layer and I don't let go, and I just stick it all down like that, because that's how I want it. And then I turn it around and I do the same here, and that's purely because I'm going to stitch around the edge. If you're not going to stitch around the edge, make sure you glue it properly. I would suggest that. All right, so that's up to you, whatever you decide to do. Right, so we've got our lot now stuck together, and then once you've done that, you can always then go around, if you're not going to stitch it, and stick these down more. All right, so that's up to you. But I am going to stitch around it, so I've done that already. So let's just put that to the side for the moment. Okay, so here you can see I've just made a little stitch line around the edges there, and then everything is kept together, so it's a whole piece now. Okay, so we want to grab our cover, decide which is the front and which is the back. And then I want to place this on here, and I'm very mindful that this is the fold line, and I'm going to put my ruler there to remind me. Okay, so we've got everything like that. I want this parallel with the edge here, so I want that like that. Now I do have one of my little journal cards that I've backed onto card and stitched around it. You don't need to do the stitching. My baking journal, I'm going to put that somewhere down here. All right, so that's the one thing, and I'm just getting it all together at this point. Then I've got two pieces of lace. This is from Plum Boutique, and this is one I've had a very long time. I think you can get this called eyelash lace. I think this also comes from Plum Boutique. So it's one I had a long time ago though. So I want to just organize this over here. I want this one on the top, and I want this one underneath. So I'm going to probably have this one like this, and this one on top of that like that. I'm just going to get the edges nice and sorted. So we're going to glue them down. So okay, so I think I'm going to have this one like this, and I'm going to have this one just on top of it ultimately like that, something like that, like this. And that's just so that I can see where I need to place what, so it just gives me an idea of placement. All right, shall we get that stuck down then? Right, so the first thing I want to do is, I can see here I've got where I need to place that down. So I'm going to glue the whole of this quickly, just to get that into place. I love doing the front covers of journals. I love the bits that come together and all the exciting things you can add on them. I think it's probably one of my favorite parts of journal making, is doing the front cover. Right, so now I remembered it was the cream bits over there, and I'm looking at this bit just a little bit more over like that. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that, and that looks pretty straight. Okay, and then I'm gonna stick this down, and again just trying to gauge where I want to. So I can go over there with that, and I can go over there with that. So I think that one is going to get stuck over there, so let's do that. So lots of fun. I'm going to do a flip through of this as soon as I get it done, so just give me a few days. I'm running so behind with things at the moment. I had a bit of a bad run this week and last week with my daughter. She's having a bit of a personal situation, and mom was required. So, you know, these things happen, and I just needed to be there for her. So sorry about me falling behind on things. I've got quite a headache today thinking about it all. So please bear with me. I'll try my best to get it all up to speed. And I like to be on time, so I can only apologize for dragging things out at this moment. Okay, enough of that. Right, I need this just a little bit over, and I'm just going to get that stuck down, and I don't like the edge of this, so that's why I'm covering it up. So there we go, and then I think I'm going to just stick the glue straight on the paper. There we go, and then get it over the top of that as well. Okay, so then we'll stick our little ribbon, and I love the color of this ribbon. It's one of my favorites. This and the pink version of this, I love it. Right, so we've got that in place, so I'm loving that. That's looking great. Okay, all good so far. Now I've got a funny piece of something that was lying in my stash that I bought, I think, when I started. So that's like nearly 3 years ago. And I don't know where I bought it from, but I just like the stone color, and I thought, right, we're using that today. So here we are, and I'm going to it's quite paperish. It's in between paper and fabric. So yes, you know, these things, when you're scratching around looking for bits and pieces, I'm sure you guys also find these things and think, gosh, why did I buy that, and what can I use it for? So this is one of those bits. Right, so, but at the end I've found a little use for it now, and I've got loads of it in different colors and things. So you know, what am I like? Right, so I want to just stick this on the end here. I've only done 3 so far. I just want to get it a bit straighter, and I'm going to put it at a slight angle. So let's just keep on that. I hope you guys have enjoyed putting this together and are excited about our next one. And I've got a little surprise coming as well, so hang on to that idea. Just need to get my, you know, butt into gear here. So I feel like I'm going so slowly at the moment, but I'll overcome it. Right, so there we go. We've got that bit there. So these little daisy bits, quite like the contrast with the color. And then, you know, life wouldn't be complete if I didn't bring in one of my wildflowers. So this is just one from the pink cardstock. And I'm going to just put it, doesn't matter that it fits over there. I'm going to bring this just a little bit further down, I think. I might cut it off, but I think I'm going to stick that on. I'm just going to cut that off a bit. and put this on. Yes, so quite excited to get started. But you know, whenever I say this to you guys every time, but whenever I come to the end of a journal project, I'm always sad to see it finished. It's like a bittersweet moment, as always, you know, happy that it's finished, but sad that it's come to an end. I've really enjoyed working on the baking one. It's been one of probably my favorite projects so far, and I didn't want it to end. Well, it's not finished quite yet, but you know. Right, so let's get this stuck down, and we'll just put it a little bit over like that. Okay. Right, now what I did was I've taken one of my bits that I showed you how to make in how to make the most of your scraps. All right, so we've got this bit here, and I thought this would be a perfect finish because it's like you're giving yourself a rosette for all the baking that we're doing. And I'm going to stick it on just over there. So I think we can take this off for the moment. So let's do that. Okay, right. So I've taken my dimensional tape here, and I want to just stick this. So now I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to pull that around, and now I can just see where I need to be with this. So I want to go a bit further up, and yeah, I'm not sure that that's, oh, it will. You know, if you're not sure that that's going to stick onto the fabric, it does actually. You can, and I put it on just to lift it a bit, but you can also stick it on with your fabric glue as well as the tape. You know, it just gives it that little bit of an extra dimension. Okay, so let me just put this underneath there. That's what our cover is looking like at the moment, so I hope you like that. Now just to talk you through a few things, I am using this which I got from Plum Boutique, which is the lovely colors here and the creams, and I'm going to use this as the tie for this. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm thinking about whether I want to put an eyelet in there, or if I want to just tie a bow right around. So I'm not sure if I want to do a fixed closure or a loose one, but this is the tie that I will put on. I only do that if I'm going to put eyelets in, once I have actually fitted in the inside covers and sewn in the signatures. Okay, so I'm still deciding what I'm going to do with that, so not quite sure yet. And then of course, just to show you, with the tyvek piece that we did, I've stuck it on there now, right, on the back of that card. This is the bit that I will eventually stick onto it. So it'll be like that on either side, and I'll make fold lines there. I sew the signatures into this bit. This bit then goes into this bit here like that, and these have fold lines matched up with these fold lines. Okay, so that's what you can do there. Once you've stuck this on the back, you can then run your bone folder either side for the fold lines. Okay, and then that will match up with that. Once you've got that all in place, and you've stitched your signatures on, so you wouldn't stick this down until your signatures are stitched onto this. And if you want to see how to stitch the signatures in, then please go and have a look at the link in the description box where I will put how I do that. Okay, with a 5 pamphlet hole stitch. And then what happens is the very final bit is we stick this on, which is just our inside cover, and you have your signatures sewn in over there. Okay, so that will then make up the completed journal. All right, so that is where the plan is. For those of you that asked me, that is what I'm doing. All right, so I keep this all together, and then the tie. And then when I've done all of that, I will come and show you a flip through of everything, so that you can see how it all comes together. Okay, everyone. So go ahead and go gather your bits and pieces and get your cover all ready. And then when we have finished, I'm going to show you a flip through of this. It won't be too long. I've just got to find some time to finish up the last few pages. It's just with sticking pockets and basic little bits down. and putting on the page edges that I showed you and that kind of thing, the tab. So not too far to go now at all. All right, everyone, stay well. Go and finish off your baking journal now. And I will see you guys very, very soon, probably our normal slot, which is on Friday, Saturday for the first project in our new journal. Okay, everyone, stay well. Thank you so much for your support and kindness. I look forward to our next one. Bye-bye.